So, I mean, there's a guy who is one of the premier sort of progressive Catholic theologians. He's the Catholic Theological Union. His name is John Palikowski. You may be familiar with his work. He is a prime example of this kind of new theology that really has taken hold, not only of Christianity, but of the sort of the interfaith, the Institute of Interfaith Scholarship in Theology, which follows very clear rules, which basically have to do with, A, you do not offend what Jewish sensibilities as defined by some Jews, and you do not attack the core of the Zionist ideology, and in fact, you really work to validate it. In a recent article in Cross Currents, Palikowski talked about the Christian spiritualization of the land. And he said, you know, we overdid that. This is really not right. When Christianity spiritualized the land, said that it was a metaphor, and it wasn't an actual physical place where God is to be worshipped. It took the land for itself and away from the Jews. These are his words. And that's wrong because the land belongs to the Jews. It is their inheritance. I heard a Lutheran pastor, theologian, talk about the land as the Jewish sacrament. I mean, Palikowski goes on, he said that the recognition of, the Vatican recognition of the State of Israel, which was like 1993, 92, was the last nail in the coffin of displacement theology. In other words, the State of Israel and the Vatican's recognition of the State of Israel fixes Christian theology, makes Christians okay with the Jews again. Now, this is not good theology, and in my opinion, it's not Christianity. I mean, look, in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus stands before the temple with his disciples, right? He's just gotten to Jerusalem. And he says, in 3 days, this is coming down. Not one stone will be left upon another. He's not talking about the physical temple. And then in John, just to make sure that you get the theology right, you know, the scene is replayed. Jesus says, I will destroy this, and I will build it back up in 3 days. And the apostles, God bless them, they're so clueless. They say, well, what do you mean? I mean, it took 46 years to build it. How are you going to take it down in 3 days? And then the narrator, remember what the narrator says in John 2. He says, he was talking about the temple of his body of Christ. One humanity, united in the universal vision of bringing the kingdom here, now. That's what it means to bring the temple down. Now, this is Christianity. That is, the old thing is gone. The tribal, mountain-centered, altar-centered religion is taken to its next step, right in the tradition of the prophets. That's what the prophets had been saying, but they couldn't take that last step and take it out of the tribal context. This is Christianity. Am I missing something? And Christianity now wants to take this back and say, no, it really belongs to the Jews because they really need it. This is what has happened to theology. And you see it today because, look, what I discovered when I started to talk to churches was that churches, Christianity, mainstream Christianity, and churches that deserve the name have a broad and deep social justice agenda. This is what we are called to do. In our neighborhoods, in Africa, in Latin America, wherever. And the whole, the Great Commission, the missionary process, this has always been the heart of it, and this is what it has transformed into, and it's a wonderful thing. Except for Palestine, right? Christians see Palestine and say, well, we know what to do here, but you can't. You can't because it is perceived as, or it might be, against Israel, and then it's against the Jewish people. So there's this huge barrier. It's part of the perfect storm. What I found was, when, in my sort of naivete and passion, I said, look, I'm here to tell you that if you really want to love the Jewish people, don't do this. Don't take the bottle out of our hands. Take the keys from our pockets. We're out of control. We're in trouble. Now, it's easy and do the right thing. Work for justice in Palestine. It's the best thing you can do for the Jewish people. Now, I know it's easy for me to say that because for, just regular, faithful, church-going Christians, and certainly for clergy, you have been working for 3 generations with tears and blood to build bridges of reconciliation with the Jewish people, with the rabbi down the block, with the local federation, with the whole institution of Judaism in this country. And you speak up about Israel. And you threaten to blow up those bridges. Lose friends. Get called the dirtiest name you can be called. Anti-Semite. And that's painful. That's hard. But I say to you, these are prophetic times. There are costs. The other confusion is that this is somehow an interfaith project. So I hear a lot from Christians, well, okay, yes, we need to do some work on Israel-Palestine. We want to make this part of our mission. We want to have programs. We want to support civil society in Israel. We want to do many things. But we can't do this without the Jewish community coming along with us. We have to do it in conjunction with them. We need their blessing. Maybe it's not exactly expressed that way, but I hear that. That would be nice. And you can find some of us who can be part of that work with you. But we don't represent the mainstream Jewish community. The mainstream Jewish community will fight you. And the gloves are still, the gloves are off on that. You Presbyterians know that. If you wait for us, you will wait too long. I can't give you any comfort about the pain and the discomfort that you suffer when you take a stand and the institutionalized Jewish community comes down on you. And it can happen at local levels too. The local rabbi might say, I'm really disappointed. What are you doing? I thought we were friends. Now, it's not that it's not happening. It's happening in pockets. But for the most part, the rules apply in interfaith dialogue across this country. And the rules are mostly that if Israel is even on the table, and in many places it's not, you have to be really careful.